Hi everyone, this is Voula with Nutrition Design with you in mind for another episode of Let's Do Dinner. I have a great recipe for you today. I am so excited to be sharing this with you because it is absolutely delicious. It's a home run with regards to nutrition, and it is absolutely vegan. There is no animal product in this. It's a one-pot curry recipe, and I got the recipe from a Greek Canadian. Her name is Maria Koutsogiannis. So you can find her on foodbymaria.com. It shouldn't take long to put together. You just need to make sure that you've got the ingredients on tap. We'll be going through the ingredients. I've got them all here. I'm not sure if people can see all the ingredients. We want to start this off with some coconut oil. We are going to add this to the pot. I've got the heat on medium, okay? And so we're just going to heat this up for 20 to 30 seconds on medium or medium low. We don't want to burn the fat. We're just melting it away, all right? And then what I have here is about a cup. It's a little more than a cup here, but she recommends an onion, a medium-sized onion, finely chopped, and then 1 pepper's worth chopped, finely chopped as well. We're going to put the white onion in first. You could hear that sizzle. And we just want to coat the onion with the fat. You don't want to burn the onion, and you want it to sweat. So you want to give it a minute or 2, maybe 3. This recipe is just packed with vegetables, packed with nutrients, and it's really so delicious, like I mentioned. And there's a lot of spices in this, and I think that's what lends to the beautiful flavor that you're going to be tasting once you make this. And the whole thing from start to finish, honestly, should take you about 40 to 45 minutes. It's not that long. And, the reason it's a little long on the longer end is because you have to measure your spices out, chop the onion. But if you have a little food processor, you can process that in no time at all. So it shouldn't take you that long, okay? You've got the garlic. And let me just give you, it's 3 to 5 cloves of garlic. And I actually put a few more because I like garlic. And then ginger. 1 2-inch cube of ginger, and I would grate that up if I were you. I mean, you could chop it, but then it's not going to be as fine. So 3 to 5 cloves of garlic. I mean, Maria says about 3. I did 5. And about 1 2-inch little cube of the ginger grated is what I have here, all prepped up for you. That's going to be our next step after we put in the peppers. And I'm putting in the peppers now. We've incorporated the peppers and the onions, and I just want to make sure that you can see that. And as I was saying, the next ingredients are the garlic, the ginger, the curry, and the cumin. So you've got a tablespoon of curry and a teaspoon of cumin, okay? And I always tell people to rotate the spices in their spice drawer on the spice rack. You don't want to be leaving spices there for years on end. So you really want to make sure that, you rotate your spices in your spice cabinet about, I would say, I wouldn't leave things in there for more than a year. And that way you just ensure the freshness and the flavor and the taste for the dishes that you're creating, especially a dish like this one. The spices is what really makes it. All right. And this soup actually freezes very well. The first time I made it, I did freeze it, I defrosted it, and we heated it up, and it was absolutely excellent. So if you want to make doubles, you can, and you can keep that in the freezer for maybe a night or a week where you're going to be very busy and not be able to maybe meal prep or cook as much. Something that you could just keep in the freezer. And it's a great little recipe for the winter. It's cold up here in the Northeast. So the curry, and we've got some heat coming up as well, really will help open up those nasal passages and make you feel real good. I'm now going to add the garlic, okay? Incorporate that, the ginger, the fresh ginger, the curry, and the cumin. So here's my curry and my cumin. We're going to add that in there. And what she's telling us to do, and I completely agree, is to kind of let all of these flavors kind of mesh. The longer you kind of leave this on medium-low, all of these beautiful spices will incorporate in with the onions and the peppers. This is what's going to give it all that richness and depth at the end when you're tasting the soup. And it's a one-pot soup because it's got pretty much everything you need. It's got vegetables, It's got, you're going to see, we're going to be adding some tofu. You don't have to add tofu. I like to use the non-GMO tofu in there. I personally don't like anything that's genetically engineered or modified. It's a very controversial subject, but, it has caused some issues with people's digestion and other issues. So I always like this to err on the side of caution. And if I'm using soy, I do use the non-GMO soy. Now, the next ingredient on tap is our butternut squash. So, just because, for essence of time, you're supposed to have this all cubed up and raw, and you're just going to add that to the pot. But what I did is I kind of parboiled it or steamed it. I did steam it for a little bit, so it's a little soft. Okay, so it's not going to take that long to incorporate and to cook. So I'm going to add that. It's about a cup. Don't shy away from butternut squash. If you want to add a little bit more, a little bit less, that's totally up to you. I added a little bit more than a cup. So then we are going to pop the lid. Okay, I think it's all incorporated, and put it on low and let it cook for just a little bit. One of the ingredients that I want to discuss with you all today is two ingredients that that people that are vegan might use. You might have heard of Nutritional yeast that has a really cheesy kind of taste, actually, and you can find that in a lot of vegan recipes, and it is really packed with protein. You get 2 grams of protein. Just double check that, 2 grams of protein in 1 tablespoon, and it's actually a complete protein. So a really nice little addition to this soup, the Nutritional yeast. And again, it gives it that cheesy flavor, because if you're vegan, you're not really adding any kind of animal protein, which includes cheese and dairy and anything that comes from a cow. So this will give it that cheesy taste, and it's, like I said, packed with nutrition. So we will be adding that very soon. And the other thing we'll be adding is coconut aminos are actually similar to soy sauce, okay? But it isn't soy sauce. All right, it actually has less salt than soy sauce, and it has no soy in it, no gluten, no wheat. Okay, so if you're looking, if you have sensitivities to gluten or soy or wheat, or trying to stay away from soy, this would be a better alternative. It doesn't taste like coconut, by the way. People ask me that all the time. They're like, does that taste like coconut? No, it does not taste like coconut, but it is not as salty as the soy sauce. And now what we're going to do next is we're going to add a red curry paste, and this is going to give it a little bit of heat and give it that Thai taste. So a little bit of red curry paste, and then chili pepper flakes. And again, this is to taste, so depending on if you want it really hot or not so hot, it's all on taste. So I'm just going to put a couple of sprinklings. That's totally up to you. I wouldn't add any salt. You're going to get it from the coconut aminos. You've got so many other flavors here. I don't think you need the salt. And then we're adding coconut milk. Okay, this would not be complete if we didn't add, for a Thai dish, right? And it's going to give it that light color, that light orange color right there, if you can see it. And then we are going to add the Nutritional yeast and veggie stock to give it some flavor, and the aminos, which we did. And then it's asking us to add the tofu. So we are going to add the tofu to this. And it is also calling for about 6 cups of water. Let me just double check on that. It's 4 to 6 cups of water. You want to boil the water before you put it in. You don't want to be putting cold water in a hot soup, because you're kind of slow the process of it cooking. Okay, so I think I'm going to put 4. I don't think I want to put 6 cups. We want to bring this to a boil. Then we are going to be adding some noodles that I've already prepared per the package directions. They are Thai brown rice noodles. So they've got a little extra fiber because they're the brown rice noodles. And what we're going to do is we're going to add those to the soup and incorporate that all in there. And there you go. So we will wait a minute or 2 for this to come to a boil, and we'll add the noodles. And then you've got everything. You've got protein. You've got, great carbohydrates. You've got vegetables. You've got these beautiful, spices, cumin, and you've got ginger, spices and, that are just packed with antioxidants, vitamins, and the nutritional yeast. Really, 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 really powerhouse soup. So I think you will absolutely enjoy this. So you can keep this on, I think, for 3, 4, at least 5 minutes, I would say. And then if you wanted to just, keep it on rolling for a couple more minutes, that's fine too. But I wouldn't keep it on for way too long. You don't want the tofu to get all mushy if you decide to add the tofu. And you want to be kind of cognizant of the butternut squash, which I kind of steamed ahead of time. So I'm going to keep my eye on this because I really don't want it to get mushy. You want to be able to kind of, chew into that butternut squash and have the tofu melt into your mouth. And, it just, the flavors are, like I said, outstanding. So here we go. It's starting to boil. And I just love it when, things taste amazing, right? So they're good for you, but they taste so good. And this doesn't take a lot of time. And this is part of what I do with my private clients. We talk about how we can do some meal planning and how we can get the food into the house in order to streamline the process during the week. Maybe you could have all of these spices kind of measured out. You could have your garlic all chopped up and your ginger all grated and in the fridge. So if you wanted to make this on a Thursday night or a Friday night, everything's ready. You just put it together. It's about, 30 minutes tops to get this together and on the table. So if you want to have it with a piece of crusty bread or maybe some rice, but you really don't because you have the noodles here, or you can have a side salad. I always encourage people to, since we're talking about plant-forward diets, you really want to make sure that 50% of what you're eating at a meal is something plant-based. And typically what it is it's, 50% protein or 50% carbohydrate. So, we really want to kind of change those numbers where we have more vegetables, more plant-based foods, covering the plate. And you can use meat or chicken if you want to, but let that be a sprinkling on your meat, on your dish, okay? You don't want it to be the star of the show, like I say. You want to see more vegetables, more whole grains. Beans and legumes are another great source of protein that contain fiber as well. So maybe consider having a vegetarian chili or adding beans to your lasagna with vegetables. There are so many different ways to cook beans. It does not have to be a lentil soup. And it's starting slowly, right? Like really making a concerted effort to say, we're not going to buy chicken this week, or we're not going to buy meat. Maybe we'll buy fish and maybe not. Maybe we'll just do 2 bean dishes. Maybe we'll repurpose the dinner from last night and make like a burrito out of, maybe the veggie stir fry. So really being creative with the leftovers that you have. I think that this is kind of at a boil. So I'm going to add my noodles. Eating a meal is not just about eating the food. It's really engaging all of your senses. Not just your mouth and what's going down your throat, but also your eyes and your sense of smell. Really try to smell the food, really enjoy the beauty of it, and then really take your time to taste it. Oftentimes people are eating really quickly and they're just not tasting the food because they have a million things to do. We're all multitasking. But I really, really encourage people not to multitask, especially when they're eating, so they could be fully engaged in the experience of eating. We want to garnish this. I don't have jalapenos, although you can add jalapenos to this, but I do have cilantro. So forgive me, I forgot my jalapenos. And then I have some lime slices that I want to add. And you can squeeze that lime into this beautiful soup. And voila, you've got a 1-pot meal. The recipe for the soup will be coming out in my newsletter. So if you want to sign up to my newsletter so we can stay connected and you can have, access to recipes like this and great information, nutrition information, obviously not just about food, but also about stress and sleep and other components of how to get you going on your path to wellness, please visit me on my website, www.mynutritiondesign.com. Please consider subscribing so you can be notified on my latest videos and more amazing nutrition information and loads of fun. So until then, I bid you adieu to good health and to great food always.